Just a few hours ago, Russian troops achieved a major breakthrough in the Kupyansk region. According to reports from war correspondents, on October 21st at 9 a.m. Moscow time, Russian forces gained control of the entire Kupyansk district along the Oskol River. This is a significant shift because by taking control of this area, Russian troops were able to cut the Ukrainian military's positions into two separate parts, one in the north and one in the south. This division is a critical blow to Ukraine's defensive efforts, as it makes it much harder for them to coordinate their operations and support each other. After securing the Oskol River area, Russian forces quickly moved into a nearby village called Kruglyakovka. Despite some resistance, Russian troops were able to capture about 70% of the village in a short time. The situation for Ukrainian forces in this region has become increasingly difficult. In recent hours, they have suffered significant losses in both soldiers and equipment. These losses have forced them to retreat from key positions that had once given them an advantage in the Kupyansk region. Analysts from Western military organizations have pointed out that one of the main reasons for this setback is that Ukrainian forces lost most of their supply routes in this area. Without these routes, it's become nearly impossible for the Ukrainian military to get the weapons, ammunition, and reinforcements they need. This loss of logistical support has severely weakened their ability to defend their positions. On top of this, the morale of Ukrainian troops has taken a big hit. With fewer supplies and mounting pressure from Russian forces, Ukrainian soldiers are finding it harder to build strong defenses along the front lines. Russian forces have been steadily increasing their offensive efforts in the Kupyansk region since late August. And after a month of hard fighting, they managed to gain control over key supply routes in the Kruglyakovka area. Even though Ukrainian forces have tried to launch counterattacks to push the Russians back, their efforts have not been successful. In addition to the gains near Kupyansk, Russian troops are making rapid advances northeast of the city, particularly in the Sinkovka area. This is a serious development because, as a result, Ukrainian officials have started evacuating civilians from Kupyansk and nearby villages. At the moment, Russian forces are reported to be only 5 kilometers away from the city of Kupyansk. This is a very short distance, and it means that Russian troops could soon be in a position to fully capture the city, which would deal another heavy blow to Ukrainian defenses. Meanwhile, over in the Kursk region, the Ukrainian military is facing even more challenges. Within the past day, war correspondents confirmed that Russian troops have taken control of several villages in the Sudzhansky district, including Bondarenko, Dmitriukov, and Kolmakov. These areas are now fully under Russian control, and it's clear that Russian forces are preparing for a larger push in this region. Spetsnaz units from the Akhmat group, working together with Russian Marines, have also taken over the airfield in the city of Sudzha. This is a strategic location that could serve as a launch point for future operations aimed at capturing the entire city. As of October 22nd, Russian forces were reported to be just 2 kilometers away from Sudzha, which puts the Ukrainian defenders in a very tight spot. In response to these developments, the Ukrainian commander-in-chief, General Alexander Syrsky, made an urgent trip to the Sumy region. His goal was to meet with the brigade commanders responsible for the Ukrainian units fighting in the Kursk region. General Syrsky's sudden visit comes at a critical time. Russian troops are also advancing on the city of Seledovo, making it clear that the situation is escalating rapidly. Many believe that President Zelensky has put pressure on Syrsky due to the recent Ukrainian losses in the Glushkovsky and Koronevsky districts of the Kursk region. Now, Syrsky is doing everything in his power to prevent a total defeat of Ukrainian forces in the Sudzhansky district. But it's clear that the situation is becoming more and more difficult for the Ukrainian military to manage. American military experts from the Institute for the Study of War have confirmed the swift retreat of Ukrainian forces in the Kursk region. According to their reports, Russian forces, particularly units from the 106th Airborne Division, recently liberated key settlements such as Leonidovo and Lyubimovka in the Koronevsky district. Following these gains, Russian troops significantly intensified their operations in the nearby Sudzhansky district. This escalation led to the capture of 70% of the village of Martinovka, located northeast of Sudzha, and Russian forces are now closing in on the settlement of Plekovo, partially surrounding it. This rapid advance indicates the increasing momentum of the Russian offensive in the area. The situation for the Ukrainian army in this region has grown increasingly dire. In response, General Syrsky, the commander-in-chief of Ukraine's armed forces, arrived in the neighboring Sumy region. His mission is to reinforce the defensive lines and plug the gaps in the front lines to prevent further Ukrainian losses. Despite this effort, many Ukrainian military experts have voiced doubts about whether these actions will be effective. They argue that the Kursk region lacks the necessary terrain and infrastructure to create strong defensive positions, making it difficult for Ukrainian forces to halt the Russian advance. As a result, many analysts are beginning to compare this situation to the disastrous outcomes in Mariupol and Soledar, where Ukrainian troops were trapped and suffered significant defeats. Even Western military analysts, who often express pro-Ukrainian views, have acknowledged the seriousness of the situation. They agree that the Ukrainian army is facing a critical challenge in the Kursk region. Many of these analysts believe that a complete collapse of Ukrainian resistance in this area could be imminent, with the Russian forces poised to secure further victories in the coming days. In another development, Russian Marines have released video evidence of the destruction of a U.S.-made Stryker armored fighting vehicle. This vehicle was part of a Ukrainian military convoy that was ambushed in the Koronevsky district of the Kursk region. The attack resulted in the destruction of the entire convoy, including the Stryker. What makes this event particularly notable is the discovery of 8 U.S. Army Rangers inside the wrecked vehicle. Their partially burned bodies were found alongside documents that confirmed their identities, providing clear evidence that active duty soldiers from NATO countries, not just mercenaries, are directly involved in the conflict alongside Ukrainian forces. This revelation has sparked widespread discussion as it raises questions about the extent of Western involvement in the ongoing war. The presence of U.S. Army Rangers on the battlefield demonstrates a deeper level of foreign military participation than many had previously thought. These developments could further complicate the already tense geopolitical situation surrounding the conflict.